Good morning, guys. It is the day that I leave for Orlando. Very excited. Already packed the bags. As you can see right here, just having it open to put in the last couple of stuff. Also, I also have two suitcases actually because of all the supplements. And I always take with me some frozen food, which is left over, which is actually in this bag suitcase right here. And the weight this morning was very low, so already drank, already have clothes on, already have the phone in my hand. So as you can see, the weight is low. It was actually 107.2 this morning, 2 days in a row. And yesterday I did not do any cardio for that reason. So yeah, food is low, weight is low, energy is low, but we're about to have some breakfast and then fly over because everything has already been prepared, the food, and then peak week is about to truly start. Today's a rest day, which is very much needed because with the flight and the training at the same time, it's not really ideal. So yeah, we're gonna fly over to Orlando. Everybody is already there. My coach is there, Fabian is there, Urs is there, and the others as well. So I'll be joining them, training with them, and just enjoying my time. And Thursday, and right now it's a Monday, so in 3 days, well yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then the peak week officially starts, the weigh-in starts, and everything will commence. So very excited. I'm gonna be leaving in about 2.5 hours. Then I'll be driving to the airport and getting ready. So yeah, very excited for sure. All right, so this is the beautiful breakfast. As you can see, I increased the volume by adding some liquid egg whites. That's why it's a little bit like this. Dark chocolate, strawberries, whey isolate by Jacked Factory, some cinnamon, some psyllium husk, some salt, and some potassium, just low salt. We're also having some black tea right here. And that's gonna be pretty much it. So I'm gonna enjoy this. This is probably going to be the only carb meal of today because every other meal will be in the plane and in Orlando itself. Just vegetables and protein. The last meal, protein, vegetables, and fats. So anyway, let's enjoy this and enjoy the trip, guys. Let's do this. Guys, that was a chaos, stressful, but I'm finally past customs in Cancun, Mexico airport. I wasn't able to yesterday because I was in Mexico for 14 days, but they don't count to the first day. So even though I managed to stay here for an entire 2 weeks, they told me straight up, well, we don't count the first day, so you have to stay another day. So what I had to do is cancel the first flight. Well, not cancel, I mean, the money is wasted. And what I had to do then is stay in the apartment for one more day, have the rental car for one more day. Really, really lucky that was possible. And after that, I had to go from the airport back to the apartment. Everything was packed. You gotta imagine, I was ready to go, guys. I would have been in America right now, but luckily this flight is earlier in the day. It's around 9 a.m. right now, so I'll be in America around 2 in total. Drive straight to my apartment there and get ready. So even though it was very stressful yesterday, I was like, okay. For a few hours I felt honestly quite terrible because you have everything planned and everything was perfect and then something like this happens. But honestly, I turned it around, I turned the knob, I was like, okay, worst stuff can happen. And it was at the same time that WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram didn't work, so I couldn't contact anyone about what happened. So people were expecting me to be there and there was no way to contact people unless making a phone call, which literally has already cost me over 100 euros. But yeah, we're here now. I'm safe to fly now, allowed to fly. And now in about 2 hours I'll be flying to America, and then yeah, hopefully everything will go all right there. But you know what happened now? It never happened to me before, because last year when I was in Aruba, I did the exact same thing. I stayed there for 14 days, then went to America, and no problem. So you wouldn't expect there to be a problem this time. However, there was. So anyway, enough about that. Let's focus on the future. Let's focus on the Olympia. And thank you so much for the support, guys, because it costs a lot more money in total than you might think. So without your support for the clothing, Jacked Factory, supplement coach usage, the workout plans, the coaching, it would have been a lot more difficult. But yeah, guys, see you in the USA. We are back in the same exact room as last year. Homewood Suites in Orlando, 5 minutes away from the Olympia venue. And right now, I'm just eating this delicious looking meal I prepared back in Cancun. Shrimps, pumpkin, asparagus, and chicken. I'm gonna be eating this, gonna unpack, gonna get some groceries, gonna train, gonna get settled. Oh yes, guys. Finally. No more stress. Only focus on the goal, the Olympia. Well, guys, we just arrived at Trader Joe's. First time that I've ever been here, so let's check it out. I have to say, Trader Joe's is an amazing store. Now, it's not a very big store, but what they do have is high quality. Yes, a little bit expensive, but the only true investment in life that I make without really looking at the price of its quality is food. That's literally what I work for. When I go to a restaurant, when I go to a supermarket, if it's quality food, I'm happy to pay for it. So what did we get? We got a lot of chicken, butternut squash, some actually grilled chicken already. And the nice thing about this is they don't add any weirdness to it, so just garlic and black pepper, for example. We have smoked salmon, we have some whitefish, of course some water, we have some pineapple for the loading phase, some mushrooms, and some other vegetables. So just some basics. Tomorrow we're gonna go to the Walmart for some more water, because you know it doesn't really matter where you get that. But yeah, now we're gonna get into the incredible rental car. I actually got an upgrade for free, and I don't mind that because this is a Dodge Charger. One of the cars I've always wanted to drive, so let's do it. And there we go. We go straight from the grocery store, having a little meal, being checked by the coach, right to Kissimmee Gym. It's a very nice gym. They have a lot of very nice machines, so it was nice to be able to train back there. And the next day I actually trained chest there, so I could work out on some great machines here. Starting with the high row, the hammer strength. Now, the workouts during peak week are purely meant to basically keep the muscles sensitive for the carbs and to basically just keep stimulating them to preserve their muscle mass. And so what you don't want to do is go way too heavy or go way too intense, so you don't really want to hit true failure, and at least not go beyond failure, because then fatigue management becomes a problem. Because the moment that you go beyond failure, that means you go beyond what you're able to do, and then the muscle gets damaged. And what happens when a muscle gets damaged? It gets inflamed, and what happens when it gets inflamed? It attracts water, and then water is around the muscle cells, blurring the definition, and that is not what we want. We want to stimulate the muscle. However, I did go, I'm supposed to go 80 to 90%, and maybe I went like 91, 92%, because of course this is the first time I'm ever training at this gym, my first workout in the United States, and it just felt really awesome. I just really wanted to get that stress out of my body, really wanted to get a good workout in, and working the back is one of my favorite movements anyway, so it was really nice to work out here. So what I'm just doing is I'm doing a couple of rows. I started with like a high row, which targets the lats and the back thickness at the same time. I like to start with something like a pull down or a high row, so I started with the high row this time to properly warm up the back. Now I'm only showing you basically the working sets, maybe here and there a warm-up, but for most movements I did 2 or 3 warm-up sets. And what I mean with warm-up sets is simply literally getting into the movement, so getting used to what the movement feels like, adjusting the seat, adjusting, the entire machine so I can feel the muscle exactly where I want. And then I start the working sets, because the working sets aren't going to true failure anyway. They're not super heavy, so there's no need to warm up super, with a lot of reps and wasting energy basically. So this exercise, the low row, feels really good. So on exercises that felt really good, I did at least 2 working sets. Now, in the last workout, I also put the reps in reserve. So for people who don't know what reps in reserve is, so when you are an experienced trainer, when you are experienced in lifting weights, you feel when you're about to hit failure. So when you're 2 reps away from failure, that's what you call 2 reps still in reserve. And when you have 1 rep in reserve, that means you could still do 1 more complete rep with perfect form, but after that your form would break down, thus hitting failure. So this is actually a very good way to do a deload as well. So you can train the exact same way, but you simply lower the intensity and the volume by adding more reps in reserve. So normally you do 0 reps in reserve, you hit failure, and you basically go on until you can't go on anymore. So when you hit a deload, you might even go to 4 or 5 reps in reserve, because literature has proven that if you go even that far away from failure, you still stimulate the muscle enough for it to even grow, not to mention maintain the muscle mass. So that's a very good way if you want to do a deload and still want to do the same amount of sets and exercises, just do more reps in reserve, which means you could do a lighter weight and do the same amount of reps, automatically reserving a couple of reps, because you normally would be able to do the same amount of reps with a larger or heavier weight. And by the way, this movement is amazing. You have a brand called Prime Fitness and also Strive. Both of them are amazing brands because they allow you to load up the machine in 3 different ways. So you can overload the top or overload the bottom. So that Strive row I just did laying down felt really awesome, because full range of motion, you can really feel the incredible contraction and the stretch to the max depending on where you put the weight. Now this is the final back movement. Just a very simple lat pull down, a neutral grip. I don't like the supinated grip or underhand grip. I really like the neutral grip here, allowing me to pull in my elbows more, allowing me to truly hit those lats. And whenever you're doing a pull down, the stretch to me is one of the most important aspects about the entire movement. So you always want to go all the way up and then go all the way down until you feel that full contraction in the lats. If you don't feel that contraction, the movement is pretty much too heavy. And that's what you saw me do in the first working set. I did a few reps. I didn't really get a good connection and a contraction, meaning it was too heavy. So I dropped the weight mid-set. There's nothing wrong with doing that in the off-season either. Don't force yourself to finish a set you are well aware of that doesn't allow you to fully do a full range of motion, guys. Don't be blinded by pride. And this is not something you should do. And then we're skipping the rear delts. I don't think the rear delts need any more attention. They already get attention from the rowing movements. They are already big enough, and they don't need to be stimulated extra. Now for the biceps, I really get a good connection with the biceps whenever I do a movement like this. So I'm starting with the close grip preacher curl, just doing 2 simple higher rep sets, or so around 12 to 15 reps. And keeping a few reps in reserve here as well. What you absolutely don't want to do is overdo it on the biceps, because I had that in the past where I overstretched the bicep tendon and it actually hurt me in my front and back double bicep poses. I couldn't fully contract the bicep without pain, and that is not a situation that you want to be in. And because this workout is really simple, what I first did is a close grip preacher curl, and now I'm simply doing a wide grip preacher curl. So that's literally the only difference. You know, bicep curls are really easy. If you have good developed biceps, you don't have to do weird stuff, just like if you have a genetically gifted calves, for example. There truly is no need to do weird stuff to them. Just go through a full range of motion, hit the muscle from a few different angles, and that's it. So the close grip feels very different for me compared to the wider grip, because the close grip, and the closer the grip is on a bicep curl, the more to the outside the tension is shifted, and the more to the outside your grip is, the more to the inside the tension is shifted. So you then grab both heads doing pretty much the same machine. And then of course hitting some poses after doing those bicep movements. Now I'm really flat here. I weigh a whole lot less than I'm allowed to weigh at the weigh-ins, which, you know, there's a lot less stress involved then, but I am very flat, which is why the carb up is much more than I usually do. Alright guys, we are back from Kissimmee Gym, or Kissimmee Gym. That was an awesome workout, and now it's time for the post-workout meal. Part 1, very simple, grilled chicken breast, asparagus. Part 2, cream of rice, laid up with strawberries. This is very delicious. Let's get this down because it's getting late. I'm gonna have another meal and sleep. Let's enjoy. Last meal of the day, guys. The famous omelette. Some liquid egg whites, mushrooms, spinach, and this time a little bit of tuna throughout. And this is part 2, a nice salad with the fat source. So as you guys know, only the breakfast and the post-workout meal have carbs. The rest is protein and vegetables. And this is protein, vegetables, and the fat source right in the salmon. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to enjoy this a whole lot. And that was the video of the day, you guys. Finally, the first day in America. Had a meetup with the coach. The shape was bang on. Very happy with how everything is going right now. Very happy with the conditioning. I'm gonna weigh myself tomorrow morning to see if my weight stays stable. If it drops, I already need to increase the carbs. If not, the diet will stay the same. Thursday is gonna be the carb up day, and I'm gonna vlog it all, guys, for you. So thank you a whole lot for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.